Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let's see who was here first. Mm, Lydia Washington, thank you so much for being here first. Let's see who else is here. And MJB, Vaughn, yes, Fancy Fancy, and Joy Moore. Love Wins Movement, thank you for being here. Who else is here? Mama Jane, and a host of friends and others. Okay, let me grab my slides. Okay. Rain today, you all. You have no idea. I have been sitting up here fighting sleep. I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep right now. I got Royal Sussex to do. Been like that all day. Just that kind of overcast. And I did take care of some other business, but who cares? We're together now, right? I hope that we can be together soon. I hope that we can be together soon. Can't you make it real soon? Okay. All right. Got it. Got it. Got it. Very cool. All right. We are good to go. Now I'll throw that over there. Now we're good to go. So, so anyway, there was a letter from Kate Middleton. Charles Spencer had some interesting news. And of course, we are always here for our faves, Harry and Meghan. Yellow Rose Tea. Oh, you like that song. Thank you so much. Oh, and thank you for how many months is it? 11 months membership. All right. And then, of course, that little sound that Church Nellie started making as she was going through the change. When I am away from you. Yeah. It's like I always tell Church Nellie, it's not that you're going through the change, it's just your voice is getting deeper. I hope that okay. Now, let's see, where was I? Okay, take that away. All right, and back here again. All right, very good. I am good now. What do I keep wanting to do here? I don't need that. Okay, that's better. All right, very good. So, oh, the next slide, that would help. This is not so important, but I thought it was really cool to share it with you. Check it out. I'm sure everybody knows the artwork at the bottom, right? It is called Tsunami. Well, someone designed a tiara based on tsunami. Can you see it? It looks like a bunch of waves, like a tsunami. And do you know, I must have seen the tsunami poster a million times. Did you all notice that there are a couple of boats in the water there? I don't know if there's a special name for those Japanese boats, but they're kind of long like a canoe. So I don't know if you would call it a canoe, but I don't know if you ever noticed that, but there's a couple of boats in the water. And then, of course, in the distance, Mount Fuji. But yeah, I didn't know the boats were there Took me a long time, and I'm just like, wait a minute, what are those? I don't know what I thought it was. I guess I just didn't think about it. I was too busy looking at the wave. Hey, Legs, thank you so much for joining us. Legs wants to say hi to a few people. You can help out with that. But yeah, that is pretty cool. A tsunami tiara, a tsunami of diamonds. Okay. And next. So, wanted to write a letter to let you know how proud I am of the entire regiment. Okay, what does that say there? Okay, of the entire regiment ahead of the colonel's review and trooping the color. I appreciate everyone trooping this year has been practicing for months and dedicated many hours to ensure their uniforms and drills are immaculate. Being your colonel remains a great honor, and I am very sorry that I am unable to take the salute this year's Colonel's review. Please pass my apology to the whole regiment. However, I do hope that I am able to represent you all once again very soon. Please send my very best wishes and good luck to all involved. What is that? Uh, is it Kisi separabit, separabit. Anyway, that is Latin for. Oh, wait a minute. I'll show you. But they signed it Colonel Catherine. So, in other words, I will be prancing around in my Lululemon pants during the drills very soon. I'll never forget those Lululemons. So there it is. It means who shall separate us? That is Latin for who shall separate us. Or as I like to say, some of the best indication that I could think of that says, she ain't write that letter. I don't believe she wrote that letter. I just don't believe it. I don't. Now, I hate to start. I know, what is it, Cherry Traveler? Colonel Catherine. Colonel Catherine. I know. I know. And also I don't believe that she wrote this letter. I really don't. It just uh. Nope, 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 nope. She did not write this letter. And I'm not the only one to say that, but of course, there are people who have better eyes for such things than I do, and I will share that with you very soon. But yeah, she did not write that letter. It was written for her, and then, of course, it was read before the, you know, the Irish Guard. So believe it if you want to, but I cry foul. I cry foul. So let me see. How do we want to approach this one? You know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for those Lululemons. That's what I'm looking for. Are the Lululemons? Yes, those famous Lululemon pants. And you probably remember these from that day that, well, it wasn't. What I'm trying to say is William went to Singapore and Kate was not allowed to come with. So I believe in a way to grab attention and see, because of this campaign against the Sussexes, you will never hear them tell you the truth about it. That, when I say them, I do mean the tabloid reporters, because they're just not allowed to go there. But truth is, I believe she only wore those pants because, well, number one, she had probably done it anyway, but the timing of it seemed to compete with William in Singapore, I believe. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, so this was Kate when, what was that, back on November 26th is what is dated here. Kate has had five private secretaries in 6 years, yet none of them uh, told her that hold on a second, let me pull that down so I can see it. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm not able to do that, am I? Well, anyway, yeah, but nobody told her that wearing those Lululemons was a bad idea. Nobody had it within them to say, "Mom, I don't think you should wear those Lululemons." Wearing athletic pants with the Irish Guard may seem a bit, I don't know, disrespectful. I think I think it was very classless, but who am I to talk? Maybe it's just some things I don't understand about how their military functions. But yeah, I thought it was in bad taste. And of course, y'all know I don't really care, but I just feel obliged to point these things out because, as I have said a million times, if the shoe was on the other foot, we'd never hear the end of it, right? We would never hear the end of it. So, I mean, come on, come on. That is the Irish Guard, and that is their colonel. That is the colonel of the Irish Guard, as if. And if I recall, isn't this the position that they gave her as a way to punish Harry, to show contempt and disrespect for Harry? They decided to give away the Irish Guard to Colonel um, Catherine, Colonel Kate, Colonel Catherine. I mean, it's hard to say it with a straight face. Colonel Kate, Colonel Catherine, whatever you choose. I anyway. Um, let's just stick with the letter for now, shall we? Let's just stick with the letter for now. So right there, the Irish Guard were deeply touched to receive a letter from our Colonel, Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, this morning. We continue to wish Her Royal Highness well in her recovery and send our very best wishes. And of course, the what is it, Key Sabarit, Sabarbabit. Anyway, that word right there. Now, take a good look at the letter. Does that look like, well, why is it signed with what appears to be a Sharpie? Or is that possibly, okay, is that possibly a computer generated signature? I think it's, yeah, I think it's computer generated. I do not believe that that is actually written by Catherine. I just don't. Yeah, it's a blatant insult to Harry. Absolutely right. That was the whole point of it, was to figure out how to hurt Harry's feelings. Thank you, Reba Henderson. Okay. Autocorrect and slow mode are out to get me today. Yeah, I think there's probably like a bunch of comments coming in all at once. Yeah, it definitely signed for her. Definitely. Lex says, "What is the qualifications for being a colonel?" Um, I guess if your brother-in-law decides that he's leaving because you're out to get him, that's probably it. Anytime, I'm sure that that's written somewhere that if your brother and your yeah, if your if your brother-in-law and your sister-in-law feel like someone's out to get them, then you two can be the colonel of the Irish Guard. Yeah. Okay. But thank you so much for your comment. Oh, I just remembered something. Give me 1 second here. I just remembered something. Ha! I got it. I got it. I know what I was looking for. Okay. There we go. There we go. Also known as, okay, Major Middlebum. Wait, okay. Oh, sorry. I know what I was trying to do. I wanted to take this bubble away. There we go. Britain's secret weapon. There's so many of them, don't you know? Yes, Major Middlebum. Be careful with those big helmets. There you go. Britain's secret weapon. One of many, I'm sure. So here's the thing. The letter says, "I'm unable to salute you while you're why are okay, I'm unable to salute you. Why are you all correcting their mistakes?" And I wouldn't call that written. Is a typed letter with a e-signature. KP can't even write proper grammar. So let me tell you, the squad. I mean, there was some people on the interweb that were going over this letter with a fine tooth comb. It's all messed up. I'm sorry, it's all a mess. So over here it says, also, why are people saying she had to pull out of rehearsal? I thought it was already announced she was never going anyway. Huh? Let me do a bail for that. Okay. And then number two, in Britain, shouldn't it be spelled practicing instead of spelling it the American way? I'm sorry. Yeah. They spelled, wait, no, they spelled it the American way. That is how they spell it in Britain, I suppose, with the S and not a C. So there is another indication that someone on staff wrote this letter. An American, maybe? Maybe Jason? Okay, what are you on about? Zoom in. In this letter, underlined version you posted is correctly said, take the salute, as it does on the letter photo on the Irish Guard original post. Handwritten would be entirely unprofessional for this type of correspondence. So at least there's one person trying to help out whoever forged this letter, allegedly. I am on about missing the two. There you go. And they retort, I am on about missing the two between unable and salute. Unable to salute instead of unable salute. Read it again, please. And also the American practicing. I'm telling you guys, they were all over this thing like a cheap suit. I am followed by I'm two. Yeah, I'm followed by I'm two. Okay, missed that one too. Um, oh well, looks like they have apprentices working in KP now. And then it says, then all correspondents are wrong. Even the guard who read it aloud, actually read it loud. Okay, it should be allowed. Look at there. I'm correcting something. Stuck the two in there. So I guess everyone else is wrong. I'm unable to take, yeah, unable to take the salute. It is then. Ha. Okay. And then also in UK, it's practicing, not practicing. And of course, lastly, it says, I also noticed the grammar, the run-on sentence, comma, splice, given is given it, I'm sorry, gives it away. So yeah, um, go Sussex squad. Must be some school teachers in the Sussex squad, but they were all over this letter like a cheap suit. So there's one or two things going on here. Number one, Catherine wrote it, and that's why it's full of grammatical errors. Or number two, an American wrote it trying to pretend to be Catherine. Whatever the case may be, I still don't think she wrote this letter. I just don't believe it. And then, of course, if we're going to talk about that letter, can we talk about this one? Huh? If we're going to talk about that letter, why not talk about this one? You remember when the guy said he got the help note in his hand? Why can't we talk about this letter? Why do we have to stick to one for the Irish Guard? Let's talk about all the correspondence, real and imagined. And then, of course, who can remember this famous faux pas? Do you guys remember when Kate had a note card and she was writing on the board there and she made a big error? See right there? Grateful Kate and the handwritten Wimbledon thank you letter with a spelling mistake. Can you guys see it? She said, thank you all. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, she made a little grammatical error there. I mean, a spelling mistake. Okay, so that could mean that she wrote it, or maybe not. Not sure. And then, of course, check this out: the Sunday Express. If you look at that little blue box up there, Kate says, "I hope to be back soon." You would think that they would have, usually they give Kate the whole front page over at the Express, but this time they left her in a little corner up there at the top. And then right there, Kate, I hope to be back soon. That is in the Mirror. Now, see, that's more like it. The big front page, touching message ahead of Trooping the Color Parade. And they make a good point. If she already pulled out of it, then why word it in a way that makes it seem like it was a last minute thing? It's been, remember, they put her name on the program for the Troop in the Color, and then the palace said to take it off, right? They've known that Kate was not going to Troop in the Color since, well, probably since January. Now, let's go on to the wedding, shall we? That is the sisters right there. That is the Duke of Westminster's sisters. And that, of course, is the wedding dress. Because of the wind and everything, we didn't get a good look at it yesterday. So I'm sharing it with you today. Okay. It's nice. It's nice. It was almost impossible to see it yesterday because of the wind, but it is very nice. And then check out the black and white photos. What have Harry and Meghan started? These black and white photos among the aristos has become so popular, and we all know why. It's because of the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex. And I am loving this classic car. I believe it is a Bentley. It is a classic Bentley. I am loving that car. Now, you guys should know that the groom arrived by Range Rover as a way to avoid showing conspicuous wealth. It seems as though one of the Range Rovers from the collection of vehicles that they have was used for the wedding. I'm not sure if this is their vehicle. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. I don't know. But anyway, this guy is 10 billion pounds. I'm sure he has a collection of cars. But yeah, I am loving that Bentley. That is beautiful. Yeah, that is very nice. And then, of course, there is a big image of the something blue. Only got a peek of it yesterday, but that is a very large image of the something blue. Now, yesterday I did mention that I thought that the having them walk that plank seemed to be in, kind of a bad idea. But one of the TikTokers I was looking at last night, one of the TikTokers also noticed that, and she called it plywood. But I did notice that when I looked at the something blue yesterday, it looks like there's like a commercial grade carpeting, but still from the sides of it, you can see the two by fours. So I think it would have been a good idea since they spent thousands of pounds on flowers. They should have lined both sides of it with flowers to avoid seeing those two by fours. That is a very unfortunate thing that it looks like that, because once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. Church Nelly, they were just talking about you. I had defended you though, but they were talking about you, but I defended you. Um yeah, they were talking about you, but I was quick to your defense. Okay. So again, that is the something blue. And now, check this out. One of these sharp eyed squatties noticed that Eugenie wore that color that Megan wore to, I believe it was Louis' christening, right? That was the color that Megan wore to Louis' christening. And that's one of those colors where you don't know that is so wearable until you see somebody wear it. And then you're just like, okay, I can see that. To me, it looks like an olive green or army green. But yeah, Eugenie looks good. I don't know that I've ever seen her look that nice. Well, it's been a while, but she looks beautiful. You don't think it's the same color? I do. I mean, the shading looks a little different in the sun compared to the Megan's in the shadows right there. But anyway, I think it's the same color. But those suede shoes that Megan has on, oh my God, that looks good. That looks really, really good with the suede shoes. And then, of course, poor Willie. Um, the guy that he's standing next to, if I didn't know better, that guy seems a bit annoyed with William. And I almost think that he's making fun of him by pulling on those beautiful dark locks of hair in contrast to William with his skin. Yeah, I think the guy can see the cameras and just started pulling on his hair just to show William that, this is real, and I'm sorry that you are follically challenged, but please get away from me. Oh man. And today they had a state dinner. I didn't realize that they had mixed the state visit in with the what do you call that? The D-Day. But it's a good idea, so that way they can do everything in one trip. But yeah, so Jill is wearing, looks like a navy blue velvet. with that white uh, train on the back of it and the belted part in the middle. Looks very nice. And I don't know if you can see um, Brigitte Macron's dress, but it has some type of buttons coming down the left side of it. Really cool. But yeah, so they're having the state dinner or had the state dinner tonight. And just for the record, you can see there's somebody holding the queen's hand, King Constantine of Greece. Um, he actually is helping the queen down the steps. And I believe this may have been from that. Um, no, I don't think this was that party where she first met Camilla. You know, the queen refused to meet Camilla. But as you can see, the idea that you're not supposed to touch the queen. Yeah, right. So I think that Jill is rubbing it in. I think Jill and Brigitte are throwing a little shade over at the silky chicken. Yeah, I think they're throwing a little shade toward the silky chicken. And again, Rishi Sunak with his bag packed, barely even present for the occasion. And before it was over, he took off and left so he can go do a TV interview. So he's been in hot water about that. And I love the photo with the suitcase. But I found a new one today. Check this one out. So they had a reenactment of the landing on Omaha Beach, right? And they could barely get out of the military transport before they noticed that there was someone with their suitcase. No, see the red box? That's that red box that the prime minister uses, right? There he is with his red box speeding back over to Britain. There he is with his speedboat so that he can rush back over there so he can do that television interview instead of standing with all of the leaders of the world that gathered. Oh, sorry about that. He decided he had to get the heck out of there so he can do his interview. Well, it was a missed opportunity, that's for sure. It was a missed opportunity. Um, he could have been in this photo right here, but you can see there, Prime Minister ditches D-Day. He apologized for it, though. He did apologize. He said that it was a bad idea and that he shouldn't have done it. Now, Prince Harry directly asked by King Charles not to leak any more royal secrets. I'm sorry, royal family secrets. Does that go both ways? Does that go both ways? Because Harry did not leak or brief, he wrote about it in his book. Whereas the other side of the family, they go to the tabloids, right? They go to the tabloids, or they will uh, do something really clever to let people know that they're not pleased or whatever. They will take away security and take away the financial support that they promised. So does that go both ways? Because at least Harry was man enough to put it in a book. He didn't try to hide from it. He said, "This is what happened." Let's see. Black Queen says, "Baron, please show the video when the president and first lady arrived for dinner. They all reached for each other's hands. Yes, a shade to the brood man." I don't have that one. I do not have that one. And I did see it, but I don't even remember where I saw it. But if I can grab it, I will share it soon. And thank you for the super chat. And Leg says, how did the mirror know this? Isn't this a leak? Yes, that is a leak. That is a leak. And what's his name? That Tom Quinn. Tom Quinn, who seems to have been doing all of the leaking for the Windsors, that is the one who shared that. I mean, who wrote that? It was Tom Quinn. Yep, Tom Quinn, who seems to have been the one getting all of the leaks lately. He is the one that leaked that information. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. That is also a leak. Good looking out. Well, yes, true. That is also a leak. So they used a leak. How do you fix a leak with a leak? But again, let me say with all fairness, Harry did not leak anything. He was man enough to just write it in the book. He didn't try to hide from his words. He didn't try to put them in somebody else's, make it somebody else's responsibility. He said what he said. So okay. Now the bad news. Well, it might be good news. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Charles Spencer, the ninth Earl Spencer, Charles Edward Maurice Spencer, born the 20 May 1964, age 60, London, England. Well, guess what he's doing? Another divorce. He is divorcing again. Again, another divorce. This is the third wife that he's divorcing. This is the third time. Charles Spencer and wife Karen divorcing after 13 years marriage. It is immensely sad. I would say so. The former couple tied the knot on June 18th, 2011, and let's see, share a 12-year-old daughter, Charlotte Diana. Nice. Okay. So Charles is divorcing his wife, Karen Spencer, after 13 years of marriage. The ninth Earl, young brother of Princess Diana, announced the split to the Mail on Sunday, which, by the way, I do think he has, I think he's written for them before, hasn't he? Let me see here. Okay. And let's see. Oh, that was People Magazine, and this one is from the Daily Fail. Now, notice the difference in coverage. People Magazine, they were okay with just sharing this one photo. Check out the Daily Mail. Wife number one, wife number two, and now wife number three. They don't give you a break, do they? They do not give you a break. I mean, they just go in for the jugular, don't they? Just in case anybody does haven't a clue how bad this is, they'll make sure that they know it. Let me see. Does it mention Harry and Meghan at all? Well, not yet. Trying to figure out if they no. Because usually, I don't care if it's about cleaning stains off of linoleum. The Daily Mail will find some kind of way to throw Harry and Meghan into it, especially if they really want you to read the story. I don't care what it's about. It could be crop rotation, it could be the treasures of the Titanic. They will find some kind of way to throw Harry and Meghan in there. Oh, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I am really starting to like Charles Spencer more than I have before. At first I really liked him because of him socking it to the Queen in front of the entire world at the funeral. And then after that, I started thinking, has he been more supportive enough to Diana? Had he been supportive enough? And so then I started like drifting away, and then now I'm coming back again. I'm coming back again. I don't want to judge him too harshly. Now, I apologize for your optic nerves, but Sophie has found yet another dog of a dress to put on. If that isn't Kate Country Cottage kitchen curtains, I don't know what is. Now there's some kind of little flowers on there, but otherwise it's just very jarring. I feel like I can close my eyes and now I'm seeing spots. Do you see those spots before your very eyes? Does she just go out of her way to find the ugliest dress possible? Is this some kind of like extortion? If Charles doesn't pay us more money, I am going to keep finding the ugliest resale shop um, outfits that I can find, and I'm going to uh, pair it up with some wedge heels and some wacky purse. Now, either you pay us more money, or I'm going to wear the ugliest thing I can find. It's either this or the blue jumpsuit. Yeah, that is pitiful. That is pitiful. My eyes hurt. Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is sad news. Brianni Gordon joins the mail. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. But Brianni Gordon, who has been a friend of Harry's for quite some time, this is one of the people that Harry has discussed his mental health with, and among other things, she is the um, I believe she was the fourth interview that he gave for the book Spare. It was Tom Bradby, Anderson Cooper. Um, oh, let me see. Well, is it four or five? So Tom Bradby, Anderson Cooper, Stephen Colbert. Oh, Good Morning America, Michael Strahan. So yeah, she was the fifth interview. So he only did five interviews for Spare, the best-selling nonfiction book of all time. Well, anyway, she was with the what is it? The Times. I think she was at the Times, who pretends to be the Times of London, who tries to pretend like they're a good paper like the New York Times, but essentially they are full of gossipy things, and Camilla Tominey has been writing for them. So any place where Camilla Tominey works is trashy anyway. So, oh, I'm sorry, not the Times, the Telegraph. I'm looking at it right there at the top of the thing. She was writing for the Telegraph. Well, now she's with I can't even say it, the the Daily Mail. So I don't know if this means that she won't have any more exclusives with Prince Harry, but I don't think it helps. I certainly don't think it helps. What have you done? What? Oh, let's see. Frumpy Sophie looks like she buys that dress from the rummage set. The good old car boot sale dress. Now, I know I'm going kind of fast, but I don't want to go over an hour, you guys. So bear with me. I certainly don't want to go over an hour again. Let me see. Oh, yeah. No money on earth could make me. So Omen Scobie replied to that news by saying that he could never work for the Daily Mail. No money on earth could make me. This is part of a much longer discussion on Twitter about the news that she's gone over to the fail. Now, I would be morally embarrassed. So much for the quality journalism. She now joins the hub of vendetta commentary and agenda based journalism propaganda that thrives on misinformation, clickbait. You have to have sunk low to go there, but is not that far from the Telegraph, where she was before, just further in the gutter. Woo! Glow, tell us how you really feel. My. Yes, Glow is not pleased. Speaking of the gutter press, the Washington Post CEO tried to kill a story about himself. It wasn't the first time. And you can see Keith Olbermann, which some of you all may remember from his stint on MSNBC. Keith Olbermann was quite tenacious on MSNBC, so much so that I believe he was fired. Um, Although I think he got in trouble for something. Was it with Simone Biles not so long ago or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, so where are we here? So NPR had an article yesterday, and it says the Washington Post has written twice this spring about allegations that have cropped up in British courts proceedings involving its new publisher and CEO, Will Lewis. In both instances, Lewis pushed his news chief hard not to run the story. According to several people at the newspaper, then executive editor Sally Busby emerged rattled from both discussions in March and in May. Lewis' efforts were first reported by the New York Times. On the second Post article in May, which was thorough and detailed, ran just days before Lewis announced his priorities for the newspaper, which is in financial trouble. On Thursday, a spokesperson for Lewis denied the publisher had pressured his editors, saying, "That's not true. That's not what happened." Of course, they said that. Busby, who did not recuse herself from the story, which were overseen by managing editor Matea Gold, and drew upon reports from three desks. Lewis did not block the story from running. He inexplicably denounced Busby's departure on Sunday night, about 3.5 weeks after the longer story ran, along with a restructuring of the newsroom's leadership structure. It is not the first time Lewis has engaged in intense efforts to head off coverage about him in ways that many U.S. journalists would consider deeply inappropriate. A surprise offer in December, I wrote for the first comprehensive piece based on new documents cited in the London courtroom, alleging that Lewis had helped cover up a scandal involving widespread criminal practices at media mogul Rupert Murdoch's British tabloids. Lewis has previously denied the allegations. At that time, Lewis had just been named publisher and CEO by Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos, who had not yet started. In several conversations, Lewis repeatedly and heatedly um, offered to give me an exclusive interview about the Post's future as long as I dropped the story about the allegations. So this is what everybody has been talking about, is that this guy wanted them to drop any stories about Rupert Murdoch and the tactics used by the Murdoch publishing empire. And if you do that, then I'll give you an exclusive. Yeah, and that's just not something that an NPR journalist would do. As a matter of fact, any esteemed journalist in the United States would walk away from something like that. At the time, the same spokesperson who worked directly for Lewis from the UK had advised him since his days at the Wall Street Journal confirmed to me that an explicit offer was on the table. Drop the story, get the interview. NPR published the story nonetheless. On Thursday, the spokesperson declined comment about that offer. The first interview appears to have gone to Puck's Dylan Briers. Okay. It ran on a day after the Post piece in May, when the late former managing editor Eugene Patterson was publisher of the St. Petersburg Times. He insisted the newspaper report his arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol on the front page. Similarly, NPR has reported independently on controversies and travails of its own leaders. So you see there, any esteemed newspaper or news group, they are not going to shy away from it. It is unethical. But this guy is coming over from the UK, bringing that Fleet Street gossipy news stuff with him, and it just does not go well. Once Murdoch takes over a paper, he could take like the most prestigious newspaper and run it in the ground. So people were expecting better from Jeff Bezos. After all, Jeff Bezos built his empire from selling books online, right? So you would believe that Jeff Bezos would have a stronger conviction about the written word. Now, so far, Jeff Bezos has not been involved in this publicly. So we don't know how he feels about it, although a lot of people were very disappointed that he hired this guy. Raffaella Bertoni, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, let me take a drink of water. so, anyway, that is what everyone has been talking about. Allegations of cleaning up the hacking scandal. Lewis was initially recruited away from the Telegraph to join Murdoch's British newspaper wing, now called the News UK, and soon Lewis was assigned along with a close friend to help Murdoch address the growing scandal there. Their tabloids were accused of committing crimes on an industrial scale, as former Prime Minister Gordon Brown put it, including hacking into voicemails. Well, anyway, you all know that story. Um, Interestingly enough, a lot of people are saying that because of Prince Harry's lawsuits, this is one of the things that is bringing this guy down and may bring down the entire Murdoch publishing empire, I hope. Okay, so let me go here. Now, this is just a little FYI for your information for people who do not understand how important the New York Post is. Not to be confused with the New York Times. If you look at those two people there, you can look at their hair and you'll say, wow, it looks like a newsroom. Obviously, those are reporters, but those are not just reporters. That is Woodward and Bernstein. Okay? This is what I'm trying to share with you all. There's a lot of things in the US that we never get right. Okay? We drink too much, we eat too much, we do too much of everything. If there's something that we can abuse, we'll abuse it. But one of the things that people have been very, very serious about is journalism. Different from the UK, where you have people that have all gone to school together, and it's two and three generations of journalists in the family, upper middle class, upper class people who are writing for those papers and such. We don't have that here. Here, it's usually a one generation, although there are plenty second generations like, Chris Wallace and his father, Mike Wallace. There's a lot of people like that. But there's also a lot of small town people, working class people who get into journalism, and they have done a world of good. Like Woodward and Bernstein, we know them from the Watergate crisis, a crisis that nearly, well, let me just say this, it ended Richard Nixon's presidency, right? Yes, they would be ashamed of it, Marshar. They would. They would be ashamed of it. So, giving you a little background, the Washington Post. The Washington Post, locally known as The Post and informally known as WAPO or WP, is an American daily newspaper published in Washington, D.C., the national capital, and is the most widely circulated newspaper in Washington metropolitan area and has a national audience. The Post was founded in 1877, and its early years, it went through several owners and struggles, both financially and editorially. Financier Eugene Mayer purchased it out of bankruptcy in 1933 and revived his health and reputation. This work was continued by his successor, Catherine and Philip Graham. Mayer's daughters and son-in-law, respectively, who bought out several rival publications. The Post in 1971, printing the Pentagon Papers, helped to spur opposition to the Vietnam War. This newspaper helped stop a war. Reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein led the investigation into the break in at the Democratic National Headquarters that developed into the Watergate scandal, which resulted in the 1974 resignation of President Richard Milhous Nixon. And in October 2013, the Graham family sold the paper to Nash Holdings, a holding company owned by Jeff Bezos, for $250 million. You know what they bought for $250 million? A very prestigious name. As of 2023, the newspaper had won the Pulitzer Prize 73 times for its work, the second most of any publication after the New York Times, and is considered a newspaper of record in the U.S. Post journalists have received 18 Neiman Fellowships and 368 White House News Photographer Association awards. The paper is well known for its political reporting and is one of the few remaining American newspapers to operate foreign bureaus with international breaking news hubs in London and Seoul. And so the fact that you have this Fleet Street menace in a prestigious newsroom like that is sacrilege. It's just is awful. It is absolutely awful. That's like having a used car dealer doing open heart surgery. It's just not a place where he should be. So, as you guys know, I do not hide the fact that I am proud to be an American. I'm proud of a history of journalism like this compared to so many places, even here in the US, where things have gone south. To have a paper like this who ended a war or helped end a war, who ran a crooked president out of office. Do you know if we had more people doing stuff like this, there would be no Donald Trump? There would, or should I say, there would be no President Trump. The reason why he's there is because there wasn't enough newspapers doing their job. If we had more of that, we wouldn't be where we are right now. But they let somebody like a Rupert Murdoch hire thugs to come in and just obliterate a great newspaper. You know, a lot of people say, oh, the New York Times, I give them the side eye and all that. I don't care. No, you're not going to agree with everything that they've said and done, but they have done more good, I believe, than they have done bad when it comes to the really big things. But yeah, all of those newspapers at some point they will invite a journalist into the fold, but the editor, that is the most crucial thing. Just like that Victoria Newman who signed off on that article from Jeremy Clarkson. I mean, she lives in King Charles hip pocket. She lives there. She probably has her own room at every house he lives in. So yeah, this is why this is so disturbing. If you are not an American and you don't understand why people are so outraged and so upset, this is why. This is why. Because of the legacy of this newspaper being turned over to a thug. Iris Demonia, good night, everyone. God bless. It has been a long, long day. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for 19 months membership. So, anyway, there is a conservative with, I'm sorry, a conversation with Bob Woodruff and Carl Bernstein, Watergate 50 years later. Those are the guys that busted it wide open. And just look at how young they were. Look how young they were. I mean, but that's the point is that there's people like this that have made these newspapers very proud institutions. Now they have gone through some really shady times, and they've gone through some great times too. But as someone was saying on the Twitter the other day, the what's her name, Lex, the black woman that they used her cells, they have sent her cells, Henrietta Lacks. It was a reporter that wouldn't let it go, that did some investigative journalism. That's how they managed to bust that case wide open. There are so many times that these journalists who have ethics, they're not there to carry the water for the sovereign. It's not like that over here. I mean, but that's what they want to do with journalism in the U.S. They want to turn us into they want to remake us in Rupert Murdoch's image. Fox News has created so much hostility and pessimism in this country. You could not even begin to describe how awful it has been since Fox News first threw the doors open. But the white supremacists in this country, they used it as a vehicle to put a Donald Trump in office. They were a 24-hour a day cheerleading squad for Donald Trump. Where's my graph? You know, I got to show it to you again. Let me go ahead and find it. Where is my graph? Yep, I remember that when I was a kid, Woodward and Bernstein. I didn't know what it was all about, but I knew it was a big deal. Let me see here. Oh, there it is right there. So, um, This is what I'm referring to. Um, Here it looks very different. We don't have 73% of the editors that come from the higher socioeconomic background, um, and 84% of the lower and what is it? You know what I'm saying? The higher socioeconomic background, the numbers are very different here. I think for the editors, it may look very similar, but for the actual writers, the people that the reporters, the ones that have done all the heavy lifting. I mean, there's so many people that have gone to university here who dreamed of being Woodward and Bernstein. They dream of being Woodward and Bernstein. You ought to see how excited young people are, especially young journalists. They um I don't want to sound too crazy, but they have really elevated these two people into the stratosphere. Now, oh, anyway, that's what I just read from this right here about Woodward and Bernstein and the Washington Post. But yeah, so David Sherborne for the claimant has told the court that News International bosses allegedly set out to disrupt MPs who were calling for an investigation into phone hacking scandal. And who do you see sitting on the other side right there? That's that monster, that menace that was hired into the Washington Post. That's him right there, sitting right next to Rupert Murdoch, as if we need that. No, we're doing perfectly fine without that type of journalism. Unfortunately, it's here now, but don't let them take the big papers. Do not let them take the big papers. God, I remember when they sold the what is it? The Wall Street Journal. Oh my God, that was a nightmare. The Wall Street Journal. Now that's a very conservative paper. It was already conservative, but now is it's been all Murdoch. Ugh. Okay. So one more thing I wanted to talk about. So-called Yellow Kid was featured in a comic strip, first in the New York World and then the New York Press. The cartoon was behind the coining of the term yellow journalism. In an 1898 cartoon of the newspaper publishers Joseph Pulitzer, as in Pulitzer Prize, and William Randolph Hearst, as in Hearst Castle, dressed up as Yellow Kid, a popular cartoon character of the day. Each pushing against opposite sides of a pillar of wooden blocks that spell war. This is a satire of the Pulitzer and Hearst newspaper role in drumming up U.S. public opinion to go to war with Spain. So this is what they were referring to right here. So when you hear that term yellow journalism, it comes from the Spanish American War, where America pretty much took over Cuba, the Philippines, and what was the other place? Um, oh, I forget. But anyway, it was because of that, and it had to do with the battleship Maine. And this was, what was it, 1888, 1898, 1898, I think. The battleship Maine actually exploded. 200 and I think 59 sailors were killed. And so people assumed that it was attacked by the Spanish forces. The truth is, the boat was in bad shape and the boiler blew it up. And a later investigation proved just that it was not an act of war. Even though the United States declared war on Spain, it was because the boiler no, it was some gunpowder residue that exploded, and it just mysteriously blew up and killed like 260 Americans. So, because of that, there was this big push to go to war. And so, basically, it just means that you hype and over sensationalize a story for, well, nowadays we say for clicks and engagement, but that's where it comes from. So it says yellow journalism was a style of newspaper reporting that emphasized sensationalism over facts. During the heyday of the 19th century, it was one of many factors that helped push the United States and Spain into war in Cuba and the Philippines, leading to the acquisition of overseas territories by the United States. Basically, the US empire, we don't like to think of the United States as an empire, but it certainly is. We have more military bases overseas than any other country. The US empire, um, they used that battleship Maine as an excuse to seize territory. That's all it was. Yes, Heather Stroud, uneducated population is easy to control. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because you hear a lot of people saying that's yellow journalism, but I don't think most people know where it comes from. But that is where it comes from. It had to do with newspaper publishers, and William Randolph Hearst. He he was like a Rupert Murdoch. He really was. He was like a Rupert Murdoch of the day. He wasn't the nicest person, and he used a great deal of sensationalism. And he bought up newspapers in every big city across the United States to push in his agenda, and got fantastically rich on top of it. Yellow journalism is back. We got to teach the children how to recognize it and defeat it. Vote blue. Black Queen says fragile men and their centuries of destructive wars. Yeah. Oh, Guam is the other territory. Thank you. I believe Guam was the other territory. Thank you very much. Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt was into expanding the influence of the United States, and um, he, among other people, were more than happy to seize as much. And also, you guys, there were two Roosevelts. In case you don't know it, there were two Roosevelts. There was Theodore Roosevelt, who was the cousin, or was he the uncle cousin of Franklin Roosevelt? Theodore Roosevelt was a Republican. Franklin Roosevelt was a Democrat. And Franklin Roosevelt, he wasn't any less into expanding the influence of the United States. He just wasn't as obvious about it. But if you notice, after World War II, Britain went from being the superpower, and after the war, the U.S. became the superpower. So, if it's any indication of the U.S. wasn't just helping out for the sake of it, they had some high-minded ideas about world domination. So, as you can see, it has been onward and upward ever since. So it wasn't done purely out of love for humanity. The United States had some other things in mind. Okay, so we're going to conclude today with more Kate. Uh, in hiding, cancer-stricken Kate Middleton's absence sparks fear illness is worse than Palace lets on. What is really going on? That's a good question. What is really going on? So yeah, we're going to end with Kate. So if you've had enough of Kate, I'll say goodnight to you now, but if you want to stick around, we got about another maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I think. Kate Middleton ongoing absence from the royal spotlight while she battles cancer has reportedly sparked shocking new fears that the palace is attempting to hide the true extent of her physical and mental collapse. And this is from radaronline.com. So radaronline.com has learned, it says, Prince William's beloved wife. There goes their credibility. Prince William's beloved wife vanished from public events 6 months ago, and the news blackout on her condition has triggered panic. She is dying and may never be seen again. The silence about Kate's health crisis, believed to be ovarian cancer, is deafening. A well-placed senior courtier dished to the Globe, "We're terrified. Kate's way worse than the royals are saying. Could we wait? Could we wake up one morning and find out suddenly? I'm sorry, one more time. Can we wake up one morning and find she has suddenly passed? The cancer may not be the only crisis the Princess of Wales is fighting. Kate's disappearance has even generated palace whispers she's been secretly hospitalized for severe emotional issues and will never be able to resume her role at William's side." And you know what? That would kind of fit. Remember, William said that they were going to, no, but I don't think so. The insider shared, all this secrecy is devastating and points to an impending disaster for the monarchy. The new alarm bells for Kate's health exploded after Kensington Palace revealed on May 21st that the princess was the driving force behind a major report by Early Year Childhood Foundation calling for companies to introduce more family-friendly working practices. Surprisingly, there was no personal statement from the 42-year-old mother of three. The palace admitted she won't be returning to duty anytime soon. The royals were immediately accused of a cover-up. Bum, bum, bum. What do you think of that one? Let me see. Okay. Next. So, what is the palace trying to hide about Kate? A royal observer pondered, "I don't believe anything until I see her. She was the most photographed woman in the world, and there hasn't been a single picture of her going to or from the hospital for treatment. This suggests there's much more to this story than the palace is letting on." Kate was last officially photographed at Christmas with William. He's only 41? My God, I thought he was 51. And their children before undergoing secretive abdominal surgery in mid-January. Palace Insider told the outlet that she was suffering from cancer, and the pale and gaunt Kate finally admitted the heartbreaking diagnosis in an emotional March 22nd video. The bombshell came just weeks after King Charles 75 revealed he was diagnosed with cancer following the procedure for a benign prostate condition. But while Charles has bravely resumed his duties, Kate remains nowhere in sight. "What is really going on?" the observer asked. "There is a horrible ongoing silence as to the whereabouts and well-being of our future queen." Kate asked for privacy when she revealed her diagnosis. That request likely came in anticipation of the devastating effect of chemo on her looks, sources claim. Kate was very thin before The chemo likely left her looking skeletal. The courtier noted, her hair is her crowning glory. But word I'm sorry, but word is blah, one more time. But word is it was falling out in clumps by now. She may be totally bald. In addition, the chemo will likely cause an early menopause, which for kid loving Kate must be emotionally devastating. I don't think she ever gave up on the possibility of having one more child, rather, even though William was dead set against it. I'm so tired of hearing about that. The courtiers added, despite everything Kate is enduring, she is a true warrior princess. Uh-huh. We believe she would still make public appearances if she were able. Uh-uh. The courtier continued, she'd want to be an example of what happens to someone undergoing debilitating chemo and could be an inspiration for others. The fact she is hiding away or being hidden away is frightening. So let me just say this. Kate is not exactly someone that I would say is a profile in courage. If Kate had so much courage, why didn't she defend her sister in law? If Kate is so courageous, how come she didn't defend her sister in law? If Kate is so strong, how come she didn't tell the truth about the Kate made, what is it? Megan made Kate cry. So before we start saying that somebody is so brave and courageous, let's consider how they lived their life before they got bad news. Can we do that? Because one thing is for sure, Megan was suffering, and most of that suffering helped to elevate the stature of Kate Middleton while trying to destroy Megan, um, simply for the sake of uh, dimming her very bright light. So I'm not ready to call anybody brave yet. I'm not ready to say that somebody it will change things for the world, because so far they have been a complete and utter disappointment. The tabloid media has built Kate up like she's some type of heroine that is there to save all humanity, especially the children. Well, guess what? Megan's got children too. Megan has children too. So sorry, but not sorry. I'm not buying it. I'm pretty sure that there's somebody who's afraid and scared for Kate, hopefully her family. But this idea that she's some kind of hero, nope. Uh-uh. I don't think so. The brother-in-law that she was supposed to love so much, when he fell in love, how did she show her support? By being part of the gang of people that was out to destroy his marriage. They wanted to destroy that marriage. They wanted to destroy Megan. And if Harry went down with the ship, then he was just collateral damage. But we got to get that Black American out of here. So, nope, not buying it. Not buying it. I do hope her the best. I hope that she is not in such a terrible state just from one human being to another. But if we find out otherwise, I can't say that, well, you know what I'm going to say, but I can't say it. I won't say it. And so that is the way I look at that. So, quite concerned about her health. Fresh fears for Princess Catherine's health as royal expert cast doubt over William's updates. Fears for Princess Catherine's health have mounted as royal expert claims there is a key issue with Prince William's updates about his wife. He's omitted everything. Yeah, there are some key issues. He's not telling the truth. Even Harper's Bazaar says, "Where is Kate Middleton?" All the latest drama explained. The Princess of Wales' sudden absence from public life is at the center of the media storm. In other words, all of this is ramping up again, and the palace is going to have to figure out some kind of way to tamp it back down. Um, the other day, Christopher Bosey says, a week ago, several news outlets reported Kate was out and about in public with family. Now, Sky News is reporting she's not able to see many people because she is susceptible to getting sick. So she went out in public with the pandemic still raging, but she can't see people. Right. Kate Middleton spotted out with family. You see that in the People magazine. And then, of course, in Sky News, may never come back. See how these contradict one another? It's these contradictions is the reason why people don't trust or believe anything they say. How can you? Because it keeps changing. It keeps changing. One minute she's skipping out of the farmer's market, and next thing you know, she's on a bench in one of the Windsor properties, looking like some Renaissance painting, and she's barely able to function. The contradictions. And now, you guys, I am really having second thoughts about Charles. I am really having second thoughts about Charles. I don't know how sick Charles was, or if Charles was really trying to save William. I'm thinking Charles may have been out to save William. I really believe that because Charles has made the mother of all recoveries. Yes, he has he seems to be doing extremely well. I'll say that. So, anyway, that's it for now. I am done. We'll definitely talk about Kate very soon, I promise you, because uh, I think in the coming week, especially considering these types of articles that are floating about, I think it's going to start to wind up again, and people are going to start asking questions. They're going to start asking questions. And I am here for it. I want to know what the truth is. Starting to seem that way, isn't it? It is really starting to seem that way. I feel like somebody then pulled the okey doke. I believe that somebody has pulled the okey doke. Yep, the old bait and switch. I think that whatever happened with Kate was so bad that Charles allegedly had to get out there and intervene before the entire monarchy collapsed because of him. Hmm. Okay, that'll do it then. Um, all right. Oh, we will close today by saying, where is that? Every situation in life is temporary. So when life is good, make sure you enjoy and receive it fully. And when life is not so good, remember that it will not last forever and better days are on the way. Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. So let's sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. Everybody. uh, so I'm just getting started. No, I'm just kidding. So that will be our last word of the day. Every situation in life is temporary. So when life is good, make sure you enjoy it and receive it fully. And when life is not so good, just remember it's temporary. It's not going to last forever, and better days are on the way. That's right. There's always better days ahead. Where there is life, there is hope, right? Where there's life, there is hope. Very wise man once said that. So, anyway, thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. And as always, whenever you see the queens, it's time to go. And y'all know what that means. All right. That'll do it. Hour and a half, not bad. Cue the Ginger Avenger. Love you all. See you tomorrow.